Welcome to the DAZN Boxing Show presented by Paramount Pictures Transformers 1 in theaters on September 20th. I'm Chris Mannix. He is the former junior middleweight champion, Sergio Mora. And Sergio, we have got a very good fight coming up in the super featherweight division. Rocky Hernandez against Thomas Matisse. It is going to be bombs away when these two guys get in the ring. And look, to me, Hernandez is one of the most interesting fighters in these lower weight classes. He has sort of this Arturo Gatti-esque quality where he is wildly entertaining, but he is also very beatable. We saw him gag away a world title when he got knocked out in the 12th round against O'Shaquie Foster last year. He was obliterated by Roger Gutierrez in one round, but a lot of his fights, most of his fights, end in a knockout win for him. He's 26 years old, Sergio. So let me ask you this. Are you buying or selling Rocky Hernandez as a world champion?
I'm selling, but I'm not going to sell on his career. I'm not going to sell on the fact that I know that he's going to be an exciting fighter to watch. You said it, Arturo Gatti. Gatti wasn't, he wasn't a champion beater. Yes, he became a champion, but when he fought the best, he got obliterated because he has big power, just like Rocky Hernandez, but he lives by the gun and he dies by the gun. I mean, there's a guy that gets knocked out when he loses. And it's not even the absolute elite level. Yes, O'Shaquie Foster was a good one, but he got stopped late. So you don't know what to expect. From the first round, he could get knocked out or he can get knocked out in the last. You can't rely on guys like that. You can't really invest too much. So I'm selling on this one.
Yeah, I'm selling, and like you, I kind of hate to sell because I like watching Rocky Hernandez fight. He's always in great scraps, but there's too many vulnerabilities there. Like defensively, he is just a challenged fighter. I mean, he had to have known in that fight against Foster that he was up going into that final round, and yet he still found a way to get knocked down a couple of times and knocked out in that fight. Similarly, like Gutierrez is a good puncher. I wouldn't qualify him as a great puncher in that weight class, and he got knocked out by one straight shot in the first round of that fight. So I can see him being in a lot of entertaining fights for a relatively long period of time, but a world champion, I just don't see it. And part of the reason, Sergio, is that I look at the rankings and I look at his path to a world championship fight. Now, he is ranked number 2 by the WBC. So he is next in line, theoretically, for the winner of this rematch between Robson Conceição and O'Shaquie Foster. But who knows if and when that title fight will get called. A voluntary path for him could be potentially taking on Sugar Nunez if Nunez winds up either winning a world title against either Anthony Kakachi or Josh Warrington, who are going to fight later this month, or in one of those types of fights where he's taking on a Nunez as a voluntary fight. I don't see him beating Sugar Nunez. I can see that being a firefight, but I think Sugar Nunez is just too strong and too good for Rocky Hernandez. So I just think that his future, his destiny, is to be in a lot of television-friendly fights, but I just don't see him as a world champion.
Yeah, I guess you could say Arturo Gatti and Ricardo Mayorga is another one you could throw out there. You fight the best, but you come up short, you get knocked out. But these are two guys that won a world title. And to the beginning of your question, can they become a world champion? I say sell. These other exciting fighters, they became world champions with that power. When you have an eraser, it only takes one shot. We know that. So there's always going to be that excitement factor, like what if? But people are going to have to really rely on that what if. It's not when it happens, it's what if it happens? And that's what I see with Rocky Hernandez.
Yeah, and always reason to watch him. Like Hernandez Matisse is going to be a firefight. It's going to be a very television-friendly fight, even without a world title on the line. All right, we are less than 2 weeks away from the super middleweight showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Edgar Berlanga. That's a fight you can watch live on DAZN. And it's safe to say, Sergio, that Berlanga right now is brimming with confidence. After a spicy finish to the press tour in Los Angeles, Berlanga now says his mission is not just to beat Canelo, but to retire him. So, Sergio, could a loss to Edgar Berlanga be the end of the line for Canelo Alvarez?
Depends how he loses, but yeah, I think a loss is pretty much the end, because then Canelo himself would have to admit that if I fought a kid in Berlanga who doesn't have my experience, doesn't have my championship level resume, can beat me, not even knock me out, just make me feel old. And fighters do get old overnight. Canelo has been in 65 fights, and most of them have been, on the high end. So yeah, if you lose to a fighter with only, 20 some odd fights, it's time to question your career. But it's not going to happen, Mannix. I mean, if you were to start this question with Benavidez, could he retire Canelo? And then it's like, whoa, then you have my attention. But nobody expects Edgar Berlanga to beat or even knock out or retire a great fighter in Canelo Alvarez. Compete maybe in the first half of the fight, get interesting if he lands a big bomb. But Canelo has never been dropped. He's never been knocked down. He's never been really hurt. He takes a big shot. I mean, if he wasn't hurt by Kovalev, a light heavyweight slugging machine, what makes you think a super middleweight and Berlanga is going to be able to do that? Cosera's had, Berlanga on Queer Street and on ice skates. So can you imagine if Canelo gets him like that? No. So all odds are going to be against Edgar Berlanga. He's going to have to shock the world. All right. So I'm not hating on Berlanga. I wish him the best. He got this opportunity. He cashed the golden ticket. Good for you, Berlanga. But now the chosen one is up against El Mero Mero and El Jefe. And he's going to have to either, go down swinging or find a way to get a decision.
I agree with all that. But the question is, could he retire Canelo? And theoretically, I think he could. Now, it wouldn't be after one fight, right? If Edgar Berlanga knocks out Canelo Alvarez, there'll be a rematch. That's simple. Be May 2025, be a massive event because of the result of the first fight, but there would be a second fight between these two guys. If Berlanga did it twice, it's probably the end of Canelo, Sergio, if we're being honest. Canelo right now in his mid-30s, had a long career. Nobody expects it to happen. Let's be real. The odds are staggeringly in favor of Canelo Alvarez. But if Berlanga beats him twice, that's the end, Sergio. That's a wrap, but I think you'd agree with that.
If he beats him once, it might be the end. But why don't you explain to me how you could see the first one happening? Why are we
it's
dreaming
not the
of
question.
Things? Why are we dreaming? Delusions of grandeur, if that's the saying. That's you. You're thinking, what if? Yeah, it's you like to go opposite of me just to be the bad guy.
I'm not saying Canelo
suit you, Chris Mannix. All right, so let's just keep it real here. Berlanga doesn't have really much of a chance.
I'm keeping it real, but how many times over the last few weeks have we discussed how Berlanga has no chance? Canelo is a massive favorite. I get all that. The question is, could Berlanga retire him? And yeah, I think theoretically he could. Now, look, this is a huge challenge for Edgar Berlanga. No one is discounting the challenge. He has power, but he has never faced a fighter with the chin of Canelo. He has faced some decent opponents, but he's never faced an opponent with the skill level of Canelo. He has been on some decent stages, but he's never been on a stage the size of the one he is going to have at T-Mobile Arena on the 14th. But if he can overcome all those odds and all that adversity, he could be the one to finish Canelo just because of Canelo's age and the miles he has on him.
But there's always that but, and anything that always comes before the word but is BS.
All right. Well, you are just anti-Puerto Rican is what I'm going to frame you as right now. Anti-Puerto Rican, anti-Edgar Berlanga.
No,
all right. A week after Edgar Berlanga and Canelo Alvarez share the ring, Anthony Joshua will be back looking to become a 3-time heavyweight champion when he takes on Daniel Dubois. That fight will be at Wembley Stadium in the UK. A crowd of more than 90,000 is expected to show up for this Riyadh season card. Look, AJ has been in against a lot of good opponents since his knockout loss to Andy Ruiz. Fought twice against Alexander Usyk, Otto Wallin, solid opponent, knocked him out very recently. But there are still questions right now circulating about the chin of Anthony Joshua and just how it's going to hold up if and when it's tested by Daniel Dubois. Sergio, we were there ringside when Andy Ruiz put Joshua on the deck repeatedly in that knockout win. Since then, he has not been knocked down. But do you still have questions about the chin of Anthony Joshua?
Yeah, but there's more than just that one question. I mean, you can't put muscles on a chin. I like to say that all the time. So you can't work out, a punch resistance. That's always going to be a factor. But I have a lot of questions with other things. I mean, his outside, distractions, his mindset. Forget the chin. His mindset. Once he gets hit, he starts thinking, "What can I do?" Well, you see it in his eyes, and we saw it, slightly in that fight with Kubrat Pulev. I saw it at least. It's he was dominating, but Pulev, a puncher, when he cracked him, it's kind of like, oh, wait a minute. I had been here before. And then he kind of got careful. Against Wallin, you said it. You know, it was a good performance. He got the knockout, but there was a little careful side to him. Same thing with Hellenius. It took him a while to knock out a big man like that. So I just think it's really going to be against him, against a really big, confident guy in Daniel Dubois, who's on a winning string. He has momentum going for him. So he has ignorance. And let me explain ignorance. Dubois hasn't been on the biggest stages like Joshua. He's not a cerebral fighter like Joshua. He doesn't really do that much thinking. He's more of a destroyer, a seek and destroy. If I land this big right hand, you're out. All right. That's what I mean by ignorance. You know, he's not experienced enough to know what he doesn't know. And that can be a factor in this fight. The fact that he has the youth, the power, and the I don't give a hell who you've been up against and what you've been doing. You know, that's dangerous right there. Dubois is going to be a very dangerous fighter against a fighter that we have a lot of questions with in Anthony Joshua. Absolutely.
Well, Dubois is dangerous, and Dubois is coming in with some momentum, but I'd certainly argue Anthony Joshua's got a lot of momentum given his run of success over the last year since that second loss to Usyk. He's beaten some pretty credible opponents since then. I think the chemistry with Ben Davison,
not as credible as Dubois.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
And look, if you're going to weigh momentum, it's going to be Triple D instead of AJ on this one.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about that. Like Dubois, I think more than momentum, Dubois has gained some of his confidence back. I think his confidence was kind of in the toilet after that knockout loss to Usyk, where, look, I don't like to say fighters quit, but when guys stay on a knee until 10, then pop up, that's kind of an indication they didn't want any more in a fight like that. I think, rallying to beat Jarrell Miller, knocking off the boogeyman in Filip Hrgović. These were big confidence-boosting wins for Daniel Dubois that I think put him in the right frame of mind that he needs to be in going into this fight. I think for AJ, the momentum is equally, if not more, on his side. Getting multiple fights with Ben Davison in his corner, multiple training camps with Ben Davison. The chemistry between these two seems pretty real. Like, he's gotten AJ back to a point where he's operating behind the jab. He's unleashing that right hand. Yeah, I think to answer the question, there are still questions about his chin. If he gets hit clean on the chin by a puncher like Daniel Dubois, I am curious to see how well he holds up. But I'm equally curious to see how Dubois holds up. Sergio, that win over Filip Hrgović was a great win for Dubois, but he had a lot of right hands early in that fight. And Hrgović is a good fighter, but I think AJ has a much better straight right hand. So my question is going to be, what happens when Hrgović or when Dubois walks into those straight right hands from Anthony Joshua? Can he hold up? I think that's a bigger question.
I think 90,000 people at Wembley are going to have that same question. That's what we're all going to be watching. That's why this is such a fan-friendly fight, and they had to open up more seats at Wembley Stadium. I mean, this is going to be a worldwide attraction against two big men, two big, powerful, strong men that are mentally fragile. I mean, yeah, that Q word, quit. You don't like to say it, you're a writer, but I could say it. A lot of people could say it. Fighters could say it. Joshua find a way out. But so has Triple D. He's found a way out too. So both these guys have shown that they don't have the mental fortitude in the championship rounds. And that's what makes it exciting. It doesn't matter. They're still big, powerful men that could detonate at any time. But once they get clipped, that's when the real fight starts. So whoever gets clipped first is going to have to show adversity and resilience. And that's what makes this fight so fun to watch. And I can't wait, man, I'll be honest.
You think Joshua found a way out in that fight against Ruiz? Not to revisit history there, but I put them in I put them in two different, Sergio, I put them in two different buckets, right? Like, Joshua got knocked down, 3 times and kept getting up. Whereas Dubois, went down after taking a pretty good beating from Usyk and stayed on one knee while the referee was counting in front of him. Like that, I think they're two different things.
No, they're not. Joshua went down multiple times on that knee, on that same knee that Dubois
got up, though.
And he got up. He turned his back and he turned his eyesight. That was a way out. Okay, I just said it. I'm not afraid to tell you he found a way out. Dubois, he's found a way out as well. That's why I'm questioning both these guys' hearts. But when you get two guys that have already been through that embarrassment, they've been through the criticism, they've been through that big stage and that big loss, they at least know how to adapt. And next time it happens, and it will happen again, which was the first one to take a knee? That's what I'm interested in seeing. When he gets up, how's he going to respond? There's a lot of fighters, Mannix, that they question their heart on the big stage. Larry Holmes, one of the greatest heavyweight champions in the world. People questioned him until he started getting in physical fights, and he showed his heart. Sugar Ray Leonard, a pretty boy from the Olympics, everyone wanted to see him in tough fights. And when he showed it, man, it doesn't get bigger heart than Sugar Ray Leonard. Pretty boys like to get tested by ugly guys. You know what I'm saying? Whether they're ugly punchers or they're just one of these monsters. And when they pass the test, everyone's like, whoa. And then they go on another stratosphere of popularity. Whoever passes their test with AJ and Dubois, I think they're gonna go to the next. They're gonna plateau the next level in respect.
Pretty guys, you must have been the
right.
SAT of testers.
You're damn right. I tested all them pretty boys. Still do.
Always got your back.
No matter what. Before we were enemies, we were like brothers.
This will be totally worth it. Don't be a glitch. Hey, you don't be a glitch.
We were given the power to change our world.
No, now we finally have the power to take what's ours.
He's a little intense.
What happened?
My best friend.
We could have built the future together.
I don't think so.
Transformers 1. Only in theaters September 20th.